underarm waggle. What do I do with that? I'll pin that back. So.
I got like wings going right now.
I know.
All
well,
exciting.
it's because I like to wave enthusiastically.
Right.
So I
have to do more of the princess wave now,
I go
so that it
slowly.
like doesn't wobble.
Or stick my hand all the way up, and then it won't. Then it looks like they're more
now people
toned.
think we're waving at them, so
all right,
it's all good.
Let them take me as far as they want to go. And it's time for me to say, they won't break me, I'm braver than I know. I was made for this. Oh, such a time as this. I was made for this.
All right, well, awesome. Well, I guess we will get started
All right.
then. So Heidi,
Yes,
thank you for having us at your gorgeous lake.
I love having you out
This-
here. And how amazing
This
is
is amazing. Look at the sun coming down. I'm so glad that we're filming in the evening. It is.
Clouds
It's
cleared
like-
up.
Yes, there were. It was cloud cover even on the drive up here.
Yeah, it was chilly earlier when I
was.
came out, but I'm like, that's okay. I have something for that if we were still going to do it.
I love it.
And then all of a sudden, I'm like, you let me know you're on the way. I walked out and I'm like, even the sky's happy that Sarah's coming out here.
So perfect. It is. I love it.
Beautiful
So
night.
we're going to start today by congratulating you on your really awesome news. And I want you to tell everybody what
am,
is your
like,
awesome news, because we're
giddy.
so
I am
excited for you.
dorky, giddy.
Tell us why.
I have officially finished my college level classes and I am going to be ordained as a minister of chaplaincy. Yes!
Yay! Celebration
So,
moment. Cheers
yes,
to you
cheers
on
to
finishing.
that.
But I want you to tell us like what you accomplished in the past 6 months, because it's, I mean, this is nothing shy of
Hang on to
completely
your
badass.
hats, because if somebody had told me that when I started classes, and that would have been the first week of January, is right after the first, I want to say maybe January 2 or 3, when I first started, that 6 months later, I would have 61 credits done.
Wow.
In 6
61
months.
credits. That's insane.
61.
So for those of you that don't really understand how college works, usually you take about like 18 credits per semester, sometimes 20 or 21 when you're trying to finish really quickly. But that is really, really impressive.
It required me to be completely committed to those days that I blocked out for that, because it was not unusual for me to go 9 to 11 hours a day straight.
That's commitment.
I wanted it to be done.
She's like, I wanted the little pin that they give you that says I'm a badass. Like,
I know. Can I get
I'm
the weird
completely
square
Yep.
little cap and the
Yes.
tassel and
yep.
nah.
So what will you do with that now?
So my goal and dream is to go into prisons and hospitals. I really want to get my hands on the very broken people or people that are dealing with the crisis situations. And I think, obviously, going into the prisons and dealing with the female population there, I found out that over 80% of them are abused women. Have pretty significant abuse in their background, and they are hurting. A lot of them are mothers, and there's a lot of stories there, and there's a lot of hurt, and I want to be there to help them. But I also have a background as a paramedic, and I'm very familiar with trauma. And I've also been on the other side of that and almost had a child die in an accident. So I experienced that side of it, and I hope that I can be of use to families that are getting the worst call of their life.
You're gonna be that person that they need in those moments.
That's my hope.
Because
So,
you know the full circle of it.
Yeah.
You know everything about it. Mm-hmm. And you're also, I feel like because of your background with being a paramedic, you're not afraid to be in that scene. You know, that you're not hesitant in any way.
Anything that they're going to deal with,
Yep.
I've been up to my elbows in on the other side of it. It's not going to revolt me or repulse me. It's not going to be too much for me. And I'm hoping that I can bring maybe a little spot of comfort in a situation that seems impossible to find. So
It's going to be amazing. Oh, I'm so excited for you.
I've been a little busy.
Little bit, and that's only like one
little
of the things
busy,
that you've been
so-
doing, and that's the other part that's just so impressive because
Yeah,
you've jumped
been
in
something.
with your whole body into everything.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I was fortunate that I had a husband that was fully on board and completely supportive of it because it did require me saying I am not going to work. And because there was no way of making this happen if I had.
It would have taken you
been-
like 18 months, not 6.
So for sure.
Yeah.
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 So
And now you can jump right in and get going with it.
I know. I still like pinch myself. Can't believe that it's true. But thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm excited. And
Well,
I've had
and
amazing people encouraging me along the way.
I feel like, again, you segue so well. Like, you don't even understand. You set things up for segues like so perfectly, and it's just great. But today we're talking about bucket lists. We're talking
Yes.
about the things that we have in our buckets that we want to get done
I'm
in
a
our
bucket
lives.
list fan. I think everybody should have one.
I think so too. And I was so excited when we talking about this
Yeah.
topic because I think that it's important. I think a lot of times people forget how to dream.
Yeah.
And they forget to expect more out of life.
Yes.
When you're in those positions and in those spots and in the darkness or the pit or even in a situation, so say you're in a job and you just can't even see your way out of that, or you're in, whatever the situation is, it causes you to just stop thinking forward.
Right.
You can only see, well, this is where I'm at right now.
Your world gets condensed down to the
Right.
here and now and what it is.
Right.
And I think it's important never let go of those dreams or that. So I wanted to tell you, though, why I'm so excited that we're talking about bucket
Please
lists.
tell me.
So I did a bucket list before and crossed off everything on that bucket list because I wasn't going to be alive to do anything after. So I'm really excited to be talking about this because I've got a whole brand new fresh bucket list going. So
That is amazing. Tell me some things that are on your brand new fresh bucket list.
I want to hike a good portion of the Appalachian Trail
I love
before
that.
I die. I want to see the world before I die. I want to start and see replicated and growing support groups for women like I dream and envision them happening. I want to learn how to play the cello. I'm going to learn how to play the
Nice.
drums. The
Yes,
drummer
I
at
am
church
so
is
excited
going to
about
teach
that.
me. So those are just some things that I want to do, but I want to take cooking lessons from the best. I want to really learn some of that type of thing. And I mean, I've just now restarted this new list because it struck me before. And actually, when you brought it up where it's like, oh, I get a bucket list back.
You do.
I'm going to fill that thing up and I'm going to,
And is it different than your other bucket list was?
it's unbelievably different. My last bucket list was, what do I want to see one more time?
It's almost a sense of urgency because you knew the end was coming.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's odd. It took a lot of thought to put that one together, wading through that. And it's odd to be on this side of it, talking about that and that reality. And it's like everything in me is just wanting to celebrate that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So glad.
I'm so glad too. We
So,
celebrate with you. We
yeah.
would never be doing this. You wouldn't be today
You'd be
finishing
talking
up your,
to an
I mean, there's,
empty chair and a microphone. Like,
we could spend the rest of the podcast talking about all the things and all the people that would not have been affected by you and having you in their lives had you made that other decision. So thank you for finding the strength not to.
I'm grateful for everything that came into play that ended that
Path,
mindset.
that path.
So
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
yes. And
love it.
I find that it sure makes life a whole lot more beautiful. I am telling you. So I'm on a mission to make people realize how beautiful and joyful life is. And I think that's what it comes down to for me with this podcast. I know what it's like.
Yep.
I know what the blackness is like. I know what it's like when you're literally saying, I can't do this. When I say that I know, I mean that I know.
Right.
I had a day. I
Right.
knew. And I can honestly tell you, life is a beautiful, joyful thing, even when it's not perfect. Even when it's not perfect. It takes some work to see it.
It really does. And it's, I was watching a show, can't remember what it was, just in passing. And there was a little boy that was afraid of the dark. And his dad would always put a nightlight on for him and hold him, you know. And then the little boy told the story the other way and said that his dad was afraid of the dark. And so he would put the nightlight on for his dad.
Yes.
And long story short, they ended up getting separated for a time. And when they came back together, the father said, see, I told you that the dark wouldn't last forever and that the light always comes. And I loved that. And then the little boy, and it was so cute in the show because the little boy like hugged him and winked at the guy behind him. And he was like, I told you he was afraid of the dark. Like it was so cute. But I loved it. I just loved that, how they were protecting each other. But the dad's lesson in the whole thing was, yeah, we're going through this really hard time right now. And yes, it was really hard to be separated and all, you know, for this situation. And he's like, but that doesn't last forever. And I think that is the part that's so hard, first of all, to realize when you're in that moment. But when you're out of it, you're like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, and we've talked about this before, but it's like seasonally, too. Winter eventually comes to an end. In Michigan, eventually.
It does. It does.
This year it came to an end and it jumped into the 90s. So, you know,
I know. It's like apparently we've already had summer. We're heading into fall now based on it's brisk, but beautiful out right now.
I've just decided that we should just throw out all the things that we think is happening in Michigan and just go with it because there's no rhyme or reason to it at this point.
We'll know what it is when we walk out the front door.
Yep. So I loved that you said you wanted to learn how to play the cello.
Yes.
When I was in 4th grade, I was forced to play an instrument, right? I'm not musical. I've never been. I took piano lessons for 7 years and I still can't play anything at all. Like I'm not a musical person, right?
Oh, because I had to do
my kids all are.
Thing
my husband is. I am not.
Yes.
So when they said, okay, you have to choose an instrument. And I was like, fine. I was like, but I don't want to wear a dress to the concert. This is 4th grade, right? Oh. So I decided that if I played cello, I could wear pants
because
to the concert. Not bass. It had to be cello because bass you could still stand up, you know. Anyways, and my mom thought that was just the funniest thing in the world, and so I played cello for 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade. I probably could maybe make some music come out of a cello at this point.
Amazing.
But that was my entire reasoning behind. I always have logical reasonings, whether they make sense to anybody else or not.
And does that really matter? If it's logical to you, then.
But yeah, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to wear a skirt. I wasn't a skirt wearing kid. I was such a tomboy growing up. And you know, it's funny because Addison's like, where is that term now? You know, because it's not like they're like because then it goes too far in the other direction or what. And she's like, why can't I just be a tomboy? And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I hung out with all the guys and I, you know, wore pants and except for when my mom put me in purple and pink things.
But you are so.
It's not a term anymore. It's not a concept anymore. Isn't that interesting? I know.
Because I was very much a tomboy.
Yeah. And then I was a girly girl, sort of, like in different areas.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of like Addison. One of my favorite pictures of her. She's shooting a gun. She's 3 years old, right? She's got a little pink BB gun. And she has this cute little skirt, kind of like what I'm wearing, except it was bright pink and it had like flowers on it and stuff. She had her jeans and her cowboy boots underneath the dress. And then she had like a little pink sweater on and her hair in pigtails. And I was like, this is the perfect photo of her personality.
It represents.
Like holding her little cute little gun. It was pink. She was all excited about it. In her jeans and her dirty cowboy boots and a dress over top of her jeans, which she dressed herself. I didn't dress. I didn't dress her. I didn't. It was a pink Red Ryder. Yeah.
All my kids grew up shooting. Every one of them.
While you were talking about your bucket list, I was thinking as well. So last summer, Addison had a bucket list for the summer.
Did she?
And she had started making it about halfway through the school year. And I think it was when she was going through all of the stuff with her pain and everything that she was in. And so as she started to get better, she's like, these are the things I want to do for the summer. She had missed out on like going to school and things like that.
Oh, yes.
And we had a blast. So we like got all dressed up in like prom dresses and we went out for fast food.
I love it.
And like the woman behind the counter thought it was the coolest idea in the world. She ended up giving like a free cookie and all of this.
Oh.
But we, throughout the summer, we made intentional time to make sure that we were crossing off these things on a bucket list. And then
It's
she'd
so
be like,
good.
oh, I have to put this one on there, you know? Or she'd do something cool and be like, I'm adding that to my bucket list just so I can cross it off. And I was like, there's no rules saying you can't do that,
love
you
it.
know?
Just as you're saying that, I think a summer bucket list is a great idea. I think it's an even better idea if you're really struggling with going through some of the dark times.
Yeah.
I think it's something that can be the incentive
Yep.
or a motivator. You don't have to sit and try and think of something in the moment because you've got it written down.
Right.
Pick something and just do it.
Well, and the coolest thing to me about bucket lists is they're not a to-do list. They're not a you have to get this
No.
done. They're not a
No
task
time
list.
frame,
Like
no.
they're outside of the norm of like, oh my gosh, you have to get these
Yes.
things done. So if you don't accomplish them, you don't feel bad. And that's the best part. You know, did we get to everything on her list last year? No. That left some to do this year. You know, like
Yes.
there and I just love
Yes.
that. But yeah, there was a time that I definitely went through some stuff that I think a bucket list written out on paper. She put hers on her phone because she's a teenager, but I think written out
Put
on
it
paper,
where you can see it.
yeah, I think would have been a good thing to like you said, to pull you out of those things.
Yes.
And it can be so simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't
peasy.
have to be that.
Easy peasy. One of my bucket list thing is learn how to make homemade bread by hand.
I love
Because
that.
It's like I love to cook. I love to bake. Bread was always tough for me. But that had been on one of my bucket list thing. I wanted to learn how to make one of those beautiful loaves of sourdough. Like,
Oh, my sister-in-law
you know,
makes the most beautiful sourdough.
And
She could give you lessons. That would be
so-
amazing.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I can make amazing sourdough bread. I suck at the designs on top. I
She uses
have
a
my
razor
little-
blade.
That's
I don't
what
know.
I have.
I don't know. I have no idea how to do it.
Robert bought me a lamb. That's what they're called when it's the real tool made for that. And
Yep.
it's basically a double-sided razor blade on a stick. I mean, let's
Nice.
call
But it
it
has a
what it
fancy
is.
name.
A lamb.
Lamb.
Yes, a lamb. So I attempt to use it.
So I have a microphone now. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh my gosh. He has
And
a
that sounded
microphone now.
very alarming.
A lambing.
It's
Oh
alarming
my word.
that
He's
you were
gonna
working on that.
interrupt our podcast with his dad jokes now.
This is the time for the dad jokes.
This is Aaron's dad joke hour. You
I
could do your
loved it.
whole own podcast just with dad
So
jokes, and then
I
he would laugh at them.
secretly love dad jokes.
I do too. I'm
I
not
really
even
do.
secret about it. I just
I
like
love
them
them.
outwardly.
I love jokes that are so corny, dumb. They're funny
Yes.
to me. I just love them.
Yep.
Love them.
I love laughing. I mean, last night, I think it was last night, maybe it was today. No, it was last night. Wow, time is all together. Addison got on this like stream of reels, and I don't know what she was on, TikTok or Instagram or whatever she was on, right? But she must have typed in funny reels or
Was
something.
she laughing?
Like, we literally had to take turns going to the bathroom because we were going to pee our pants. We were laughing so hard. And it was one of those that, like, we got done laughing and my abs hurt because
Yes,
we
you
were
got a
laughing so
workout.
hard. And it was the most ridiculous things. But I cherish those moments. I love those moments where you're just, you know, you're busy doing whatever. And then she's like, Mom, look at this. And I was like, okay. And
know.
we just had so much fun just giggling.
So those memories that are made with that kind of laughter are just those joyful moments in life, man. Laughter is healing.
It
And
is.
nobody can tell me otherwise. It changes
Yep.
you can't laugh for real and not have your mood change.
No, and I'm going to say this right to the camera, but moms of teenagers, don't miss those moments.
Oh
don't,
my goodness, no.
Don't miss the opportunity to sit there and laugh with your kids like that.
Take
you
an
know?
interest in what
Yeah.
has their interest. I
'Cause-
promise you won't regret it.
No, and I'm super busy right now. We're doing all of this, and then I've got this giant graduation party on Sunday,
Yes.
and everything that's going on, and I'm like, I don't have time right now. I didn't have time
Right.
to sit there and
But
do
you-
that.
But you made
But
it
I
happen.
made the time because
Yes.
it was that important, and it was just the dumbest
And look at
thing.
you sharing it with me.
Right.
It meant that to you.
Right. And I feel as though there were times in my parenting that I would have missed that. I think
Mm-hmm.
with my oldest, I think that I would have been so consumed in other things that I
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't have realized the importance of that moment.
Of the moments, right?
And that's really what it is. And I
Yeah.
love that because all my kids do that. They take turns, if I'm sitting on the couch and they'll come up and like one's on one side and one's on
Yep.
the other side and they show me things, and then they're gone. Like they bloop, they come, they sit down for just a second and then they're gone. And somebody had mentioned talking about, the empty nest and things like that. And we're definitely
yes.
definitely gonna
We
do
had
an
some
episode about
good-
that. We had some good comments
We
on
had
that.
some good comments, and I can talk about that one because
Right.
I had gone through that. My situation was a little different because of
Sure.
life at that time.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like I can talk that empty nest and what that feels like.
Yeah.
It's a tough moment. I think all parents look forward to it for different reasons.
Right.
But when it happens, it's like
Yep.
it's hard. It's
Well, I was-
really, really hard because you have to refigure out now what does life look like and who are we outside of raising kids.
That's it right there. And that's it. And that's actually what I was going to name the episode that we were going to talk about. But I'd like to do a couple different episodes about being moms, the different phases and things like that.
Yeah.
So you guys stay tuned because coming up in the next couple weeks, I would love to tackle those subjects. I think
Yes.
I think that's important, especially moms during the summer. Oh, I feel you. I hear you. School gets let out and you're like, oh,
I'm
now I
supposed to
have
love
them
these
all the time.
24/7?
And how do I make it through the next 12 weeks and everything? So
Where's the lunch lady to feed
yes,
you?
yes. Why have they asked for snacks thousands of times already and it's 8:30
They're
in the morning?
Bored? They're bored?
Yeah, I used to make my kids clean toilets if they said they were bored.
Oh,
they
yeah.
would say that word and I was like, oh, I have 3 toilets in my house. You may go clean.
I had a whole lot of things for my kids to do when they were bored.
Yep.
So
I had them cut weeds one time with scissors. Like
I
little
love your
scissors.
parenting.
They were like the little like child safety scissors. So they weren't even very sharp. And I made them go out and cut weeds.
That's why I love you.
I would make them read books. I mean, there were tons of things. So we'll cover that in the
Yes.
next couple
So,
weeks.
And
So,
moms,
Yep. Moms.
we're going to talk mom bods.
We're going to talk mom bods because I loved that video you sent me. And we'll put a link to
Wasn't
that
that
video.
great?
I was like, I needed to see that video
Yeah.
because it's been a struggle. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It was good because man, society has this ridiculous ideal that nobody looks like.
I know.
I'm just going to say it. Nobody does.
That's actually
No. I love mom bods too.
and I love dad bods too.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I like the dad bod guy I have.
Yep, I do too.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's one of the things on my bucket list is, which is so
yes.
ridiculous.
Tell me about your bucket list, please.
I want
I can't
to
wait.
develop ab muscles. Like I know that sounds so silly, but there was a time where in like 2013, I think. It was a couple years after I had Addison.
I was not
And
expecting that. Sorry.
Right. So I got on this like random fitness kick. I needed to lose a bunch of weight. I was about the size that I am now. And I just had littles, like 3 littles at home. I'm like, this is ridiculous,
and what
right?
made you think you had to lose a bunch of weight?
Because I didn't want to look the way I did or feel the way I did anymore.
You just said you look like you do now.
Yeah. But so I went on this weight loss journey.
Okay.
I started by like doing 30 days of sit-ups. So it had like a progression every day. You had to
yes.
do a little bit more. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this. Well, that turned into, I discovered I loved kickboxing. And then that turned into,
That's a good
hey, I'm just going
outlet.
to do a quick little like round of P90X,
Oh.
So I'm just going to like
You were
I
one
would get
of
up
those.
at 5 in the morning and I would do,
no.
so I was actually in
Oh.
the second round, like going through the whole 90 days of
That's
it. You know,
amazing.
I was in my second round of it about halfway through it. And then that was when I started having some immense stomach pains from things. And that was where my almost 5-year journey with like a ton of invisible pain
Okay.
that nobody could see
That's the
came
worst.
into play. So I was in the best shape of my life.
Yes.
And my doctors were like, you have to stop exercising because we don't know what this is coming from. They didn't know if I had twisted things from the kickboxing, whatever.
That's a hard.
So, but I'm thinking
thing.
this was 10 years ago, right? So I'm in my mid 30s at that point. And so on my bucket list is to be able to get back to that physical shape in my 40s.
If you start taking those classes or you want to do it, I'll do it with you.
I did the Jillian Michaels kickboxing on my TV.
Oh, she's tough.
She is tough. She kicked my butt a lot. But I
Hey, you
enjoyed
should
it.
probably mention that they did find out what it was.
Oh, yes.
So that you don't sound like you just lost your mind and had some
Okay.
fantasy
So-
She's
pain.
been carrying her twin that she absorbed
Right.
before.
I actually had triplets inside. No, I'm just kidding. So my pain issue that nobody could figure out, I literally went to every doctor.
Yes.
I had exploratory surgery. I had an
Really?
ablation. Like I was
Oh.
bleeding very, very heavily, and I
Okay.
was having this was like almost labor pains all the time. So it was not cramping like a period cramp. It was knock me down. I'm out on the couch. I can't move. But I also had severe lower back pain. So they had me in physical therapy. They had me in the chiropractor. Everything that every doctor could think of.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital a bunch of times because it got to the point where I'm like, I can't function. I'm in that much pain. And I have a very high pain tolerance. So for me to get to that point, so about 4 years into my journey, no, you're good. 4 years into my journey, I had said, I can't continue functioning like this.
Oh,
so
for
I
sure.
asked for another
Pain is-
ultrasound, which, doctors are so dumb because they're like, well, insurance will only cover this much. And I'm like, look, I need another ultrasound. Somebody's got to figure this out.
Let's make it happen.
This amazing woman sat me down on her table. She read my chart. She heard my story. And she said, you are not getting off of my table until I figure out what's wrong with you.
Oh.
And I was like, have at it, right? So I'm having like the internal ultrasound. Have you ever had an internal ultrasound?
I have.
It's like a
When they
baseball
come
bat is
at-
up there and they're just
And
swirling
then they
it around.
they
and
lube
like,
that thing up.
she's like, oh,
They
and then your
get the-
bladder has to be full.
They shake that tube and go,
Yep.
and
Right.
it all comes.
And then your bladder's full. And she's like, I'm just going to push really hard on your bladder a lot. And I know it's full. And I'm
It's like, do you know that I've had children and I can't
I'm
hold it
on
like
the
that?
table. Like this is, anyways, she was amazing, right? She was so incredible. She did the most thorough ultrasound, both
Yes.
internal, external, everything.
Yes.
And all of a sudden this is 40 minutes. I'm at least on the table for 40 minutes, right?
man.
And she goes, I found it. Oh, I'm not supposed to tell you. Oh, hold on. And I was like, what is it? She goes, I can't tell you. And she's like, I can't tell you anything. And she's like, but I just need you to know I found it. And it's something, like it is something, like you have something wrong with you. And I was like, and I'm just bawling, like I'm
There's
bawling on the table.
relief in that, though, when you
Just
hear
for them
that.
to find something. I'm telling you, I had surgery and everything. They went inside of me and looked and they couldn't find it, right? So it turned out it was endometriosis in the muscle lining of my uterus. So in between all the muscle lining,
Misery.
it was, and it's the only form of endometriosis that gives you back pain as well because of where it is and how it's positioned and all that, right?
Miserable.
So I had a hysterectomy not long after that, a couple months after that. And I remember distinctly getting out of the surgery and my insides feel like they are on fire, right? But the pain I'd been in for 4.5 years
Was
gone.
gone.
Completely gone.
Yeah.
And it's never come back. Like it's
Yeah,
gone.
because the fire stuff, that's like because you had surgery.
Yeah. Exactly. So I
Yes.
knew that, Well, here, the crazy thing was, the end of that story was, I had been on painkillers for 4.5 years, right? Because nothing would touch it.
Man.
So I was on tramadol for 4.5 years. And so in the hospital, not only am I a redhead, so they have to give me higher doses of everything,
Yeah.
right? They could
I
not
don't, do
control
people
my
know
pain.
that redheads
That redheads have to have a higher...
have to be managed
Yeah.
differently with their pain?
Even when I got I got my tooth pulled, I don't know, last year at some point, and he put in like 1 shot of Novocaine. I was like, I can still feel it. He put in 2 shots, and I'm like, I can still feel it. He's like, seriously? I'm like, I'm a redhead. He goes, oh, that's right. And he puts a 3rd one in. I was numb for like it was great. But when I get out of surgery, they could not control my pain from the surgery. So they ended up giving me like oxycodone and like all these things because they wouldn't let me leave until my pain was,
For sure.
managed or
Yes.
whatever. So they had given me tramadol for the 4.5 years.
Right.
And they told me that it was not habit forming. I wouldn't form an addiction to it. And so then I don't leave myself enough to like wean off of, right? I just go cold turkey off of it.
Because,
In the
it's not
meantime,
addictive.
Aaron
so
is
how
left
bad
for
can
a
it be?
trip to Africa for 17 days. And I start reading up on what happens when you come off of tramadol. And it said, all these different things. It could take up to 10 days to fully, go
because
through the
of all
withdrawal
the
symptoms.
half-life and all this oddities.
So
with it,
I sat my kids down at the kitchen table and I was like, yeah, mom's going to be going through withdrawal for the next couple days. I don't know what I'm going to be like. I said, I don't know what I'm going to feel like. I apologize. Just please bear with me. This is what I'm experiencing. Very, very honest with them, told them exactly. I mean,
That's the best thing to do, so
I
they're
had
not
to be.
afraid.
I didn't want them to think they had done anything wrong,
Right.
And
Right.
I'm like, well, Dad's not here, so there's nothing I can do to,
Yes.
My kids were great. They were so great
You have
through the
good
whole
kids.
thing. But God was so good. 3 days of withdrawal symptoms, and I was done, and I was good. I don't even know.
That's remarkable
It
for how
was-
long you were on
I
it.
didn't sleep for a couple days because my entire body felt like I had pins and needles running through it all the time, and I was
Your
I was
body
moving.
is so
I couldn't
used
stop
to
moving.
that routine of
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. And then I was like, doctors, for real? I'm like, tell me that it's going to take me a while to wean off of it so that I didn't go from 4.5 years of using this every day. I would take one a day for 4.5 years. Right? And then I'm just done. No, that was not pretty. It was
No.
not pretty. But
No.
I feel like I was very spared from as bad as it could have been,
yes.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that was a God thing because,
Yeah.
my husband's in a whole nother continent.
Africa.
Just, yes.
Some experiences that happen there too, from what I've heard. But
Right. So yeah, that was a very interesting experience. The cool thing about that experience of going through the chronic pain and all of that is that when Addison started going through her pain that she had for 18 months, and every doctor kept telling her, "You're fine. You're totally fine. There's nothing wrong with you."
Did you find that the medical field really kind of downplayed your poor daughter's symptoms and
yes.
pain, literally blaming it on she's an adolescent child?
I
She's a
actually
girl.
had some doctors that even were like, "I think she's making it up," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
she's not.
I
She's got
had
a
them
higher
do-
pain
I
tolerance
had them
than
do
I
that
do."
to me, and I'm like, I'm a paramedic and I know what's going on with me, and you're
Right.
going to tell me right now that the pain is in my head.
Yeah.
No, I can tell you where it is and why.
Yep.
But
Which is why I just kept fighting for her because I had gone through that experience ahead of time. And so I could say to her, I know exactly how you feel. I know
Yeah.
how frustrating
Yeah.
this is. I know we just need to keep fighting until we figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
And I cried just as hard when the chiropractor diagnosed her and told us what was wrong with her. And then we finally were able to get her the help that she needed.
that's always the thing. I just want an answer.
That's all it is. I don't care
so
what
you
it is.
have
Just
a
tell me
direction
something.
to go. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Because the worst is them telling you that you're fine. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not.
And pain is tough. But
Pain
I
is
found
exhausting.
that if you receive an answer and then you get an idea of how long it is, or even let's say it's going to be a chronic thing,
Right.
when you have an answer, it makes it easier to manage and deal with the pain
100%.
because it's not an
100%.
unknown.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was quite the experience. So back to my bucket list.
Oh,
That-
I was just going to say,
So getting in shape in my 40s or by 50 that's hugely on my bucket list.
I started
Only because
running
I want
at
to see if I
50.
can. I mean, I have a friend who she went through life issues, right?
Yes.
Went down to Florida and she does
you have a friend that's not me?
I do. I have other friends than you, Heidi. Is that okay? No, this is a friend from high school, and she is she's just such a badass. I'm so proud of her. But she does heavy lifting, really cool things and posts it, and you
Lifting
can
is
watch it. And, I mean, it's
actually
really cool.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I want to
So
do.
weight
I
work.
desire
I don't
for
want to
that.
get bulky, but
No.
I want to be toned and
Right.
strong.
Right.
And the other thing is flexibility.
Yep. I want to be that 80-year-old who is getting videoed at the gym because she's doing all these cool
Let's
things
do it.
or whatever. We're totally going to do that.
We're
I want to
gonna
be
do it.
that. I'm still going to
I'm
have
going to be
my
in my
hair and
leotard and
pigtails.
tights
Yep.
and my sweatbands.
Yep. Yeah, the other
Yes.
thing that I will never do is I am not going to cut my hair when I'm older. It's going to be long
love
and I'm going to
that.
wear it in braids. And there was a
I
woman in my church
love
when I
it.
was growing up. She was so cool. She was just her own person.
Yes.
And she had hair a little bit longer than mine, gray like yours, beautiful.
I
and
am
just braided
the
it
biggest
like all the time.
fan of long, natural, wild, glorious gray hair. Like
There's a picture
I'm
of a woman
so
on the
tempted
Lowe's
to just
ad
not
right
cut
now.
my hair because my hair looks like yours when I let it grow.
Does
I
it
don't know
really?
if you
Is it
know
curly?
That. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
my
I wouldn't
hair
have known
looks
that.
just like yours when I
Yep.
let it grow.
Yep.
But I don't look good though
Well, that's what you think.
I've had it. So the problem is that I have proof because people have said it's like, oh, but that's because you always wear your hair short. So then I will grow it long. And the last time I let my hair grow and it got down to here.
Did you push your little chia pet thing?
I push
Push your belly
chia
and
pet
make the
activate. Yep, I did that.
Yep.
And it grew all out and it would just get all curly and it was beautiful, but it's got to be the shape of my face or my enormous forehead, I'm thinking.
You're cracking me up over here.
I know.
What enormous forehead.
Well, because it's a 5 head, not a 4 head.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
anyways, they didn't realize until I cut it all off back to my short, and they're like, now we know what you meant. Mm-hmm. They said, you just lost 10 years. And I'm like, I know.
Not many people can pull off like a cute
So-
little pixie cut like you have, but you can.
So
It's awesome.
You know, my dream of having this glorious gray granny hair is likely never going to happen because I need to have short hair, but I'll live through you.
Mine's graying quite quickly, so you can live through mine.
Can I
soon.
just say, I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
love
I've just been noticing like more and more like giant kind of areas. And I'm like,
I
well,
will
yeah, stress will
plead
do
and
that
beg
to you.
with you to not cover it up.
I won't.
Thank
I won't.
you.
No, I won't. The only thing I do is like
I don't
put
know what I'm
some-
going to do when she goes all white.
It's going to
mean,
be glorious.
I'm going to have to make her a Mrs. Claus outfit so we can match.
She's going to
I
be the
love that.
hot Mrs. Claus.
I love that. No, I decided that years and years ago that I wouldn't dye it.
I love it.
I would just let it grow
I
out
would
naturally.
tell every woman watching, if I could challenge you, if there's one thing I would do different going back, I never would have put that first color on my hair. Ever.
And I feel like there is a trend of going more natural.
Yeah.
You know, just over the past
was
like
that
5
COVID
years
did
or
that.
so. Yeah.
COVID
yeah.
was a big deal because people couldn't
People
get in
couldn't
to get their hair done.
Yep. Yep.
So
Learning
if
to
you need
accept
tips
ourselves.
to transition to gray, I know how to do it pain-free.
I love that.
Do it yourself at home. Cheap.
That's the best.
I know. So
Yeah. So some other things that are on my bucket list
Tell me.
is traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I've traveled quite a bit in my youth, right? So
Your Amsterdam trip,
I did go to Amsterdam.
where you may or may not
Sort
have.
of smoked weed.
Maybe.
Sort of. No, but I did. I went to Amsterdam. But while I was in Amsterdam, I went to like Paris for a weekend and we went to Belgium for a weekend and we went to London for a weekend. And so it was really fun, like for a weekend trip to go to these different,
for sure.
you know, I'm like, this is so
I think
cool.
it's weird for us as Americans to think about that. When you go to Europe, you can
Yeah.
take day trips and
We
go
just
to
hopped on
other
the train.
countries.
It was great. It was so fun.
Because their countries are like our states.
Right.
And it's hard to wrap our head around because for us to go to another country, this is like a
Be like
big
driving
deal.
to Chicago. I mean, it's really,
I know.
you know, yeah. And I've been to Jamaica 4 times and I built a school there when I was in high school.
All by yourself with your
Yes.
little pretty
I walked
hands?
down there with a little pink hammer and just
With your
Yep,
adorable
with my tiny
thumbs?
little hands. I did. Yeah, that was really fun. That was like my first big travel thing. And I've been to a lot of different states, but we haven't done a ton of extensive travel like with our family. I would like to do
Okay.
more. We did drive out to Colorado and we camped all the way out, which was
Yes.
really cool for my brother's wedding.
Yes.
But I would like to do like the Southwest states. I've never been down that way other than California because
I would love to go with you to Zion sometime.
Oh, that would be
and hike
amazing.
Zion.
Yeah.
It is the most gloriously beautiful place. And it was the very first time where I literally felt connected to this planet that I live on.
Right. I want to travel with Addison. That is one of my biggest things because we just haven't done a ton. You know, with 3 kids, it's hard. It's hard to
It
travel.
is.
You know, and so that's
She is
that's
a beautiful soul.
my goal. Yeah, she's going to Japan.
She is a
that's on her
beautiful,
bucket list. The 3
special-
kids are going to Japan
Really?
when she turns 16. So in 2 years,
Okay.
they are taking a trip to Japan together. The
Why
3 of them.
Japan?
They
See, that's
love
like
Japanese culture.
Way
Like they
on the bottom of my bucket list.
Yeah, they watch all of the
the anime and everything?
They read all the manga. They
Okay.
eat ramen noodles like it's their job. They eat.
Somebody's
She
got to.
makes sushi all the time. Like
Does she?
they love the Asian culture.
This
they
is
think that it's just
amazing.
great, And so the 3 of
Amazing.
them want to take a trip together to
Yeah.
Japan, and she has to be 16 in order to go.
That
So.
is amazing.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Very cool.
So it's coming up. She's been saving for it for years, and she's got like a little travel envelope and everything, and
I love it.
yeah, it's
I
really
want
cool.
to go to Greece.
Oh, I would love to go to Greece.
Ireland. Ireland's another one. But then I want to go to like Norway, but I want to be in the mountains.
His sister's in Sweden right now. You know what she
Oh.
said? She said it doesn't get dark like in Alaska,
Oh.
but she didn't realize that. And
Oh,
so
no.
she was FaceTiming him the other
Oh,
night at like
no.
10 o'clock at night, and it's bright and sunny outside. And she's like, this is the strangest experience ever. Yeah, that would be wild. I love my sunshine, but to not have it ever shut off would just be really weird.
I know. And
It would.
yeah, and I'm not even going to go into how this all happened, but I crossed paths with somebody online, and they lived in Sweden, and we used to just talk back and forth all the time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like so dark here, and and she's like, I would give anything for it to be dark outside right now. And I'm like, oh, well, what time it is? And she goes, that's not it.
It's irrelevant.
That's not it.
Nope, they have
So-
sunshine all the time,
But,
which is crazy.
But yeah, I think I would encourage everybody to travel if they get a chance, literally, so they start to see that America isn't it.
Right.
This isn't the only thing.
But even in America,
So-
there are a ton of
Oh,
places that I want to see.
yes.
A ton of things that I
Yes.
want to do and places that I want to see. And, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm never going to learn like new talents. You know what I mean? Because, no, it's funny. But I'm saying in my brain, are you okay? Okay.
Okay.
But I don't even know what new talents I would want to learn. I don't know.
Oh, we need
You know
to
what I'm
work
saying?
on
Like,
that.
I don't know
I
what
want to
those
learn
would
how
be.
to do like the Latin dancing.
I am such a bad dancer.
love-
Your husband is dancing right now. Is that Latin dancing?
kind
She says
Latinish.
kind of. It's Latinish.
But what I love is that he would do it with me.
Right. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I suck at dancing. I don't know how to dance. We weren't allowed growing up.
Right.
It was forbidden.
You're
you
a very
dance,
good dancer
you-
for somebody that wasn't allowed to dance when you
You
were younger.
dance, you go to hell, and you get pregnant.
Yeah. Well, she dances her own dance.
So
That's what you do. You dance your own
That's
dance.
it. I try to just literally, I feel the music and I either like it or I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's either there or it's not there.
Right.
And I quite honestly really don't care. If you think I suck as a dancer, you don't have to watch me. I don't care. I'm having fun.
Nope.
So
And to me, that's what makes the best dancers is when they're not trying to do it for anybody else and they're just dancing their own dance.
feel the music. Music speaks to me though. So
Yep.
it just, oh, look at, here goes the dinner cruise.
I love it. So we're actually like doing one of the things that was on my bucket list for this
Oh.
podcast when we first started.
Really?
Is that I wanted to do like different out of, you know what I mean? Like when I first started
Yes.
thinking about it, I wanted it to just be different
Yes.
and not just be like kind of always the same thing and just do something fun and wild. And so I feel like
Yes.
the summer is a good like
have
launching.
fun
It's a
this
good
summer.
launching pad for that. So
We're
yeah.
going to have fun.
I love it. We're already having fun. It's not even technically summertime yet.
Oh my gosh, it
June,
isn't, isn't it?
whenever June 20th or 21st
I'm sorry,
is when it
but
starts.
when it hits 90 degrees, I just
classify
assume
that as summer.
Summer is here.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't-
had a lot of
you
fun
know,
making like all of the summer, like the YouTube thumbnails and things like that because it's just so happy and so wonderful.
I have loved them, and I find that I go to watch them a lot. Mm-hmm. If I'm feeling frazzled or stressed,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to watch what
Yep.
Sarah put up there, those little shorts and stuff, and
Some of them are very, very ridiculous and funny.
My favorite go-to just over the last week has been the dancing one.
Yes. I love it.
It's just good.
I love
It's
it.
good stuff.
Yeah.
So what is a big bucket list thing that you have? The biggest you can imagine. Like, sky's the limit. There's no, finances don't limit you. Nothing, no limit. Sky's the limit. What would you say?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'll tell you, when I entered
'Cause
Art
that
Prize,
has
that
to
was a
go
big enough
on-
goal that made me want to throw up.
You're going to be amazing.
But
I'm voting
like
for
I was
you.
always told that if you want to throw up when you're doing something, that's like your goal is big enough now.
Yes. Yeah.
Gosh. You know what I want to do is I want to get to the point with everything, with the photography and all of that we can then teach the next generation. We can bring people on
yes.
as employees, and we can, I want it to get to
Yes.
that point where what we've gone through and what we've learned, we can then share with
Yes.
other people, and it's not just ours. I want it to be others that we
love
share that
that.
with. So yeah, I would say that
I
that's a
love
pretty
it.
big goal. So we always
Yes.
talked about having a creative place, right? So our studio is a creative place.
Yes.
But we want probably like a standalone building where creatives can come and they can do art, or they could do music, or they could do recording, or they could do photography, or it's just a creative space.
Can we buy like some old commercial building?
Yes,
and
I
like
would love that.
make like our own little homes in there, but
Yeah.
have it a place where artists and creative people and
Yep. Anybody that has a dream of doing something, I want to be able to help them accomplish that.
I think it's beautiful.
I think that would be really cool. Yep.
I love it.
I love it. And how about you? What's your biggest bucket list?
It sounds, I know what it is and I don't know why it's
Okay.
on my bucket list. And that's the oddest thing, because everything else is specific. I get it. I understand it. But this is something that's just in my head. I want to speak to a stadium of people.
Yes. I love that.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
That
but
is
it's
a
what I
nice
want to
big
do.
I think you
bucket
guys
list
should
goal.
work toward making this on a stadium full of people.
Yes.
Oh my
I would
gosh.
do that in a heartbeat.
Because
Sell
a
out.
stadium full of people would be excited to see
oh,
you
we
guys.
could get
That
them
would be
engaged.
so much fun.
Yes.
I'm
We
just
totally
saying.
could.
Just throwing it out
Yeah.
there.
Van Andel Arena, if you could like just clear up a date for us,
Yep.
that would be great.
And like an outdoor location too, like a really fun big amphitheater. Like Jones Beach, they have a really good one there in New York. They've got a really I've been to concerts there and everything.
I
right
love
on the
those
ocean,
beautiful
right on the beach.
outdoor amphitheaters.
I think we could totally arrange that.
They're building that one right by your building.
They are, and it's going to be open in like 3 years. So I'm very excited, or 2
It's, like,
years, or whatever.
right there.
It is right there.
You should be their official photographers. Just
I
saying.
think that we should be their official act. It's Heidi and Sarah.
can see
we
it.
sell out every night.
Or we can go Sarah and Heidi. SH.
Oh, I like that. Shh.
Yeah,
we should
no
have named our
shushing
podcast.
us.
Shh. I'm glad we didn't. What's your podcast? Shh. What?
Yeah, I've been told that enough. I'm not following that anymore.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like the opposite of what our whole goal is too, because we're trying to be unfiltered and like get all the word out and
I
be
know.
like, what's your podcast? It's called Shh. Don't talk about anything. Keep everything in.
yeah, we
Be
just
very,
sit
very
here.
quiet. Yep. It could be like an ironic one, I guess. It would be like an ironic.
I know.
It's called
It would
Shh.
be.
We talk about all kinds of shit and stuff. Yep.
Stuff.
Yep.
So what's the next bucket list item you're going to do?
Oh. I want to become a minimalist. Yep. That is.
Oh, I can't. That's why I love you.
but I
You're a
have to have my
kindred
husband
spirit.
jump in the bucket with
I think
me.
we're going to have
my
to live
children.
together and they're going to have to live together.
My
so.
whole family. I'm going to have a bucket big enough for us to all sit in because I'm married to a pack rat. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I'm married to a recovering pack rat.
You, my dear, are a pack rat as well. We both were raised by pack rats, and
This
we are
is
both
why
pack
it's on my
rats.
bucket list to become. I didn't say
And
I
both of
was
us
a
are
minimalist.
working
I
toward-
said I want to become a minimalist.
Both of us have done a really good job of working toward getting rid of crap.
We have.
I think that's amazing.
Yes. And I think that I just feel like to be decluttered and to be a minimalist, you have so much more space in your brain for so many other
Yes.
things than your stuff.
Because how much time, and this struck me at one point, don't know why, because sometimes weird things do. What if at the end of everybody's life, they were handed a sheet that told them how many hours were spent trying to organize, pick up, declutter, and
I
store
can't
away
even
their
imagine.
stuff?
I call it
Stuff.
swirling at my house because I just swirl it from one room to the next room
Yeah.
to the next room.
It's
and I'm
just
like, this
neatly
is just
moving it
this
to
is
another
not accomplishing
space.
anything.
I know.
This isn't.
I find it sad that America is covered with storage units.
Yep.
Nobody needs a storage unit.
Nope.
Really don't.
I walk into houses that are minimalist houses and I feel
It feels good.
so good. And I want that feeling
Yes.
in my own space.
Everything
but I'm
is
gonna have to move
deliberate.
out of my current house in order to make it happen. You know how like when you need to do big shifts like that,
Yes.
it's almost impossible to do it in the space that you're in.
Yeah, you can't do it in the existing.
You can't.
It has
because
to be a new and fresh.
So when we make our move in the next couple months, whatever it is that we're going to be doing,
excited
that's
for your
my
next
goal is
step.
to just minimalize
Yes.
everything.
To me, the idea of minimalism isn't sacrificing, it's freedom.
It is freedom. It's freedom
Absolute
from the
and
bondage of
utter
all of your crap.
freedom.
Yep.
I'll challenge everybody. You go open your closet door and seriously look at it. How many people could you dress out of your wardrobe?
So many.
How many bodies do you have?
One. So we're going to end there and we're going to leave you with that challenge. So, all right. You have to get rid of 5 pieces of clothing that you haven't worn.
Show us what you're getting rid of.
Oh, that would be so fun. Show us all the photos. Do a fashion show for
Make
us.
an outfit out of what you're getting rid of.
And then donate it somewhere
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
Yep. Not Goodwill. Not
Okay.
Goodwill.
Not Goodwill.
No, donate it somewhere like to, I don't know, to the different ministries that they can come in and get it for free.
Yes, I agree. I love the ones like, we have a wardrobe, you're trying to get a job and
Yeah.
you're homeless, you have nothing to wear.
Or like
Come
they
on
do the
in here
prom
and let's-
dresses and stuff.
Yes.
And I love that. I think that that's
Yes.
great. So,
Take your excess and put it to good.
yep. Well, cheers.
Cheers to
Let's end
that.
here. I love it.
Life
Bye.
is rough at the lake. Bye.